Welcome to the FarKingdomsPodcast, where we mainly talk about our ongoing campaign and all the joys and woes that come with it. My name's Kevin,
And I'm Albert.
and this is our first podcast that we're recording for this. So, yeah, let's just see. So
Let's get to it.
let's talk about our campaign, in general, because it's been a pretty long running campaign. We started it in 2018.
2018 around July.
Yeah, like July.
July.
It would have been July. And we've had about 41 sessions across 2 years. Although there was a big hiatus in last year. Like probably most of the year we didn't play in that campaign. We played in a bunch of different
mini campaigns.
things. Yeah, like mini campaigns, and then we had like this rotation thing. But now we're back to the one campaign, which we all call the Axia campaign, which is
The continent where it's set.
Yeah. So I'm one of the player characters, and I play a character called Snow. He is a wood elf who is reflavored as a snow elf, and he's a swashbuckler rogue. And then Albert, you are
I am the DM of the campaign. Make the
So
world
we've
or break
got
the world.
Yeah, that's right. Does your world have a name, or
No, it does not have a name currently.
it doesn't have a name yet?
Wait, why are we
So-
making the podcast?
Oh, because we just wanted to talk about a campaign. For me, I wanted to give an honest view about a normal campaign as I was run, because you see all these streams and stuff online, and they're all great, and they run campaigns and stuff, but like they never really dive into like the problems
The
that you come across, or
imperfections.
the imperfections that come across everyday campaigns. Although you can read about horror stories and all that crap on Reddit or wherever all the green text on 4chan or wherever you read your D&D content. But yeah, we just wanted to give like an honest and genuine discussion about our campaign specifically. And like, what issues we have with that, what we like, what we don't like, discussions on like how we can make it better or worse. Or worse. Why did I
Make
say
it
that?
worse.
And then like we may go off on tangents sometimes.
It's bound to happen.
But yeah, that's bound to happen. But you're gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So in generals, we just want to talk about it because we enjoy it so much.
yeah, we enjoy it, so we wanted to record ourselves talking about how much we enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what kind of world the campaign is set in, just to give some context for the listener here. So, Albert, what kind of world have you set the Axia campaign in?
Ooh.
Is it?
I like to liken it to a stereotypical fantasy world that hits all the cliche points. Because
It is.
yeah.
Yeah, it is our first. It was our first ever campaign that we ever started playing. Believe that's the first time we ever started playing D&D. It was just 4 of us. So me, Albert, and 2 other people. So yeah, it is a bit your average fantasy world.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with cliches. I mean, you have the overbearing empire of evil. You have the kingdoms. You have those desert nomadic tribes. You have the jungles and the forests and all the giant animals that live in there. I think cliche is good for a starting campaign, at least.
Mm.
So let's talk about the characters that are actually being played. So we have a party of 7 players now, I believe, which is quite a big jump from when we first started.
Yeah.
Should we just start in alphabetical order?
Alphabet. I mean, I don't even.
Oh, you
I
don't
even
know?
their names. So it's.
Oh, you don't know.
So let's start with the first one that comes to mind, which is A, right? Eisen,
That's the one.
who is a warforged warlock.
That is correct.
I believe she started out as a monk though.
Yes.
we changed her, or you changed her. Yeah, I think there have been a couple of class changes. My character has had a couple of changes as well in terms of class and things like that. But yeah, back to Aizen. She is a Warforged warlock who, by the sounds of the last session we just had, doesn't even know who her patron is. Now, Al, do you know who her patron is? Did you ever discuss with the person playing Aizen
Who the patron is?
Yeah.
Or what? We have touched on it a few times, but we've never gone into what's the word? A lengthy description of it. It's just kind of up in the air most of the time. I feel like after this last session, we're gonna have to iron something out.
Yeah.
But for the past few sessions, it has been just, well, otherworldly entity that grants her power. And when we talk about Aizen, you think of the typical Warforged as, like robots, like, I don't know, just like mechanical.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
If you've ever seen anything from the Eberron source books, or the latest one that just came out, I believe last war, which is an Eberron source book that came out for 5th edition. Oh, we should probably mention that we play on 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, we do.
But we play on 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, but Aizen's Warforged isn't the typical.
It doesn't literally nothing like the generic Warforged. Yes.
I think I would compare Aizen to a synth from Fallout 4.
Yeah, like a cyborg. Like a cyborg with human skin. Like an android. There we go.
But I don't think her skin is human. I think her skin is like this odd off-white, and then she has purple like wires or something like that
in place of her veins. That is that's correct.
Or like glowing lines that that run up her neck and into her eyes, or like they just run up her neck or something like that.
Do you know her barcode name?
I don't know the full. I know it's the full. There's like a bunch of numbers and like acronyms and stuff like that.
It is ARX007 R6th Owaita. That is the full name. And that's a bit of a mouthful.
It doesn't actually have Aizen in the full name.
I believe Aizen's just the nickname for it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Next character. Who do you want to go to?
Next character. We said alphabetical order, but whenever I think alphabetical, I think Tokul, which is not the next letter from A.
Well, the next one would be Maple, but wouldn't it be better to start with the originals until who got introduced latest?
Right. Technically, Aizen isn't the first that person's first character. I believe it was another character called Sieg, who was a cleric. But for some story narrative reasons, they got switched out with Aizen. So it was Aizen, and I believe the next in order of appearance would be Storm, actually.
Well, if we're going to originals, it would be Tokul, right? Tokul, and then Snow, and then Storm.
I mean, you meant like, as they appear in the campaign itself. I thought you meant like as new players and stuff like that.
Oh,
but, yeah. As the OT3, the original
the three
players. So there's Tokul. So let's talk about Tokul before we talk about my character.
Ooh, if you had to describe Tokul with one physical trait, what would it be?
I always get this wrong. I always get the color of his scales wrong, but it's gold.
He is a gold
Dragonborn. But for the longest time, I kept thinking it was red. In fact, I kept getting all the Dragonborn colors wrong, for even the NPCs in your campaign.
I think that's a you thing, and not just a campaign thing.
But yeah, he used to be well, he is a shiny gold Dragonborn. He's not so shiny anymore, but
Yes.
the joke with his character is that sometimes he would step inside the sun or out into the sun, and then he would blind the
He
other
would
characters
disco ball
because
the other characters. Yes.
so he is a Dragonborn paladin.
Yes.
Used to be barbarian.
And he serves a homebrew god actually. Our campaign doesn't actually use the Dungeons and Dragons original setting gods. We just kind of came up with our own.
I believe most of everything that's in the Axia campaign is actually homebrew.
Yeah, it's been the cause of a lot of trouble and a lot of stress, but that's how it goes with homebrew. Anyway, Tokul. He is he's a specimen. He's got this strange kind of boneheaded personality to him. I'm not sure if it's the character or the player, but kind of naive in a lot of the things he does. But to be fair, his character in-game age is only 14 years old.
14?
14 years
Yeah.
old. Well, that's when Dragonborn mature as adults, though. So it's closer to like 21 in human years. Yeah, he's the one who does a lot of stupid things and gets the party into a lot of trouble.
Him and another character called
another
Storm
character.
are like the chaos pair of the party, the mischief pair.
Speaking of Storm, should we just go to him now?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to Storm now. So Storm is a Tabaxi bard. And he's been a bard for the whole campaign, so no changes there.
No changes.
As of recently, he's gotten himself in a lot of trouble in regards to making pacts with demons and other evil creatures.
Well,
but
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
let's do a general.
Let's describe how he looks like first. He is basically like a tiger. So if you want to think like a Rakshasa, but as a Tabaxi. If anyone knows what a Rakshasa is. Rakshasa?
And they might not.
I don't know how to sell that.
Yes.
Say that.
He's
probably.
a general Tabaxi with tiger stripes instead of the spots.
Yeah. And he has a New York, I want to say Brooklyn accent.
Yeah. I don't know how that got through, but it did get through. That's
probably going to be a lot of what you're going to hear us complain about the most is how sometimes our immersion gets broken by certain aspects.
All the time.
But yeah. I don't take too much issue with it. Not as much as another issue with another character that
our campaign. We'll get to that character.
We'll get to that character.
Anything else we should say about Storm? You know, he's
but yeah, he is the typical bard, except he doesn't try to have sex with every single thing, but he's like your silver-tongued bard, you know, plays music, sings songs, yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah. So not really much to say there.
He talks a big game, but he can't back it up most of the time. I think that's what he's going for with that character. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we kind of skipped ahead. I thought we were going to go with original 3. So let's go into...
We were leaving you for last.
Oh, were we?
Yeah, because you're here. We are you.
Okay.
I'm going to assume you're going to talk the most about your character, so...
Well, I don't want to take up too much airtime with my character.
We have infinite airtime. We can talk forever. We can talk forever.
Sure.
We can talk
forever. Okay, we'll go to the next character.
That would
be infamous Ryan Wilson.
Oh.
Ryan
Wilson.
Ryan Wilson is comes from the kind of Soviet Russia equivalent in Axia, which we call the Ubanian Empire.
Yes, the big bad empire.
Oh, I wouldn't say it's big bad, but
it is big.
It's certainly cutthroat. Yeah, and that they have Russian accents, Russian/German/Slavic accents. They're all human, highly racist. They have slaves, that sort of thing. But Ryan Wilson, when he first joined the campaign, he wasn't any of that. It was just oh. Do you want to say how he came up with that, the player came up with that name?
So there's this famous actor who shares a first name with this character.
Yep.
And there's a character this famous actor plays who shares a last name with this character. And the character...
The face of the actor is also the face of the character.
Yes.
If you remember. Yeah.
Everything at the beginning was the same as Ryan Reynolds. It's Ryan Reynolds in my D&D campaign.
It's Russian Ryan Reynolds.
And I don't hate it. It just takes me out of immersion a lot. In fact, I kind of love it, but God, is it immersion breaking sometimes. I think recently we've been kind of mending that wound, that immersion breaking wound, but it'll take time.
I think his efforts to roleplay a bit more as a distinct character has definitely helped a lot.
Yeah. Huge fan of that.
Yeah, the player who plays Ryan, this is also his first campaign, and he hasn't been playing that long. I believe he started the beginning of this year or end of last year.
Around the end of last year. Yeah.
Around the end of last year, so he hasn't been playing that long. I believe at least 2 players are fairly new.
Yes.
So
I forgot to mention, Ryan is a human fighter who uses 2 crossbows.
Oh yes, he's Fighter McFighter.
That's the important part. Yes, his actual class and his race, a human fighter who uses dual crossbows and does a buttload of damage. Oh my god.
He's pretty edgy as well. Oh well, he's less edgy now, but he used to be pretty edgy. I mean, my character's pretty edgy still.
I mean, I think that's what you get when you're part of this secret society of what, secret Russian intelligence police, or the fantasy equivalent of that.
Like KGB.
Yeah.
KGB. Yeah, he's part of the Night's Watch, they're called, which is like Ubanian KGB. But he's been
retired,
or he retired or something, but we don't really know that yet. We haven't really delved that far into that.
We'll get to it one day.
Okay, so
who is next? It would be Oasis, right?
It would be Oasis. So
Oasis. Ooh.
A water genasi druid.
That's the one.
Who is from the desert part of Axia, which is, I believe, it has a couple of names, but I believe it's the Great Cradle.
That is the way the ancient people reference it, yes.
Yeah. So
the modern equivalent would just be the Great Desert, or the Al-Hadaran Desert. Something along those lines. It changes.
Yeah. Is she I don't think we ever delve into what part of the desert she's from. She's just from a village in the desert?
Yes, a village that no longer exists because her whole family was slaughtered. Now, when you think about it, that's such a classic D&D backstory. My whole family was slaughtered. I'm looking for revenge. I think the caveat here is that her character, there was this really large gap between when her family was slaughtered and when she went seeking revenge. I think it was 60 years she hid in the forest, or stayed in the forest or something.
Right.
Which is why she's like 70 years old now or something. Or 60. I think she's 60 actually. But yeah. So it's a nice twist on the generic backstory, which I really enjoy.
How long do water genasi live for?
I think they have the same, if not a little more of the same lifespan of a human. I think a little more. I think a little more. So she'd be equivalent of maybe 40s of human. I think that's what she wanted to go for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she has the potential to have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? What's the opposite of generic?
Original?
Yes, she has the potential for a lot of original solutions to problems, being one of the only spellcasters in this group of what used to be only martial classes.
And I think out of the whole group, the player who plays this character, who plays Oasis, is the most fresh out of all of us. She's only been playing for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Maybe 3-4 months.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long now, actually.
Yeah, so she's been around for not too long. Which, speaking of new characters, we should probably introduce
Nice
the
segue.
final character of the party named Maple.
Maple.
Who is also a wood elf, reflavored as a snow elf, which is our homebrew. It's not a homebrew race, it's just a reflavored race for one of the homebrew continents or countries in the world. So he just joined very, very recently. I believe only in the last 3 or 4 sessions, that Maple joined. So very, very recent addition to the campaign.
He is an elf wizard, by the way.
Yeah, elf wizard. I should mention that.
And we are all level 8, I believe. Level 8.
Level 8. Yeah.
Level 8. Yes. Yeah. He only got introduced maybe 3-4 sessions ago in a dark, dank, dangerous dungeon where he attempted to murder everybody, and he almost succeeded. Right?
Yeah, I believe
it was
I think it was under the influence of some sort of mind control spell, and he had been trapped in there for the last 200 years. So, yeah, he looked gangly. He don't look good.
Yeah, I mean, 200 years is nothing to an elf. You know, it's just a week or two, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to imagine what he looks like, he probably looks like an elf hobo.
Perfect.
That's what it looks like.
Perfect.
And then finally is my character, Snow, who is also an elf that comes from the same place as Maple's character. So Snow's been around since the start of the campaign. He is a snow elf rogue, a swashbuckler subclass, and he comes from a place called the Crescent Isles, which, if you want to describe it in layman's terms, it's rip-off Fantasy Japan. It started out that way, but I fleshed it out quite a bit, and then even today, I'm still writing stuff, and like, you know, whatever ideas come to my head, I still put it through.
Always well
put it up. Yeah. Yeah, my character is pretty edgy. We started off very edgy, and then I toned it back a little bit. But yeah, he basically looks like a mummy. So his backstory is that he was a bodyguard for his cousin. So he comes from a cadet branch of this noble house in the Crescent Isles called the Clan of the Deer. And basically the cadet branch serves the main branch. And then he acted as a bodyguard for the heir of the main branch called Uchi, who was the prince. And basically, the cadet branch launched a coup against the main branch, and the civil war broke out. And Snow had his allegiances kind of tied between the cadet branch, the family he's from, and the main branch, the family he's sworn to. Basically, long story short, he helps the heir escape from the main branch, and his father, Snow's father, who ordered him to kill the prince, found out about his betrayal and basically set Snow on fire and kicked him off a ledge. And classic. Snow essentially died in his backstory, but then he is brought back to life by a mysterious force or power or person who we don't know anything about just yet.
And he just wakes up on the continent, right?
He wakes up on a ship, and he has a family heirloom, which is a sword, and it has a note saying like, don't forget the family, something like that. It's been a long time since I thought about that, but
2
yeah, and
years.
then he comes to the continent of Axia. So that's all the characters really.
That is all the characters. Shall we go
Next, do you
to
want to let's talk about the quest that the characters are on.
the quest that the characters are on? I feel like it's been a long time since we were actually able to talk about a main storyline or a main quest. Because I think before this, everyone was just kind of bumbling around, doing really whatever they wanted, and there was no overarching plot. But these days, they are on a quest to do what? What are they doing?
So, from my understanding, all the party members have this brand or mark on their arm, on one of their arms. And the mark is made up of 4 lines in various arrangements depending on the party member. But it's always 4 lines, right?
Correct.
And basically, most of the party got the marks in a dungeon outside a town on a adventurers guild quest or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the other parties members that we found also happened to find the brand. So happened to have the brand, I should say.
Yes.
And basically, we're on our way to find out what these brands mean. And basically, from what we know so far, is that the brands are bestowed upon the party members by a god or gods. Probably a god for each party member.
Maybe.
And the branded people who are branded by the gods are called the elected. And there's supposed to be some sort of prophecy about the elected fighting an evil force of some kind.
Yes.
That we don't have too much details on. And yeah, we're on our way from Danathar, which is the southeast country of Axia, which is basically your typical fantasy country, right? Mostly human.
Yeah.
Knights, kings,
kings,
dukes,
lords,
barons, that sort of
lords
thing.
and ladies.
Which borders on Ubania and the desert. Ubania to its west and the desert to its north. And we're currently headed towards the desert in the north, and we're part way through a I want to say 4 to 6 month journey in game.
Yeah, around maybe 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months.
Yeah. And basically there's a bunch of stuff in the desert that some of our party members had visions about, and there's this sword called the Oathbreaker, which is supposedly allows the party to cut their ties with from the brands or something like that. But there's other various visions and things like that all across the continent, or not all across the continent, all across, like, I believe my character has he doesn't have my character is the only character that doesn't have,
he is the special
like,
exception, yes.
the concrete visions that the other characters have. So basically, for context, Albert gave all of our characters visions, and they're all pertain to something like that they have to do. So my character is the only one that doesn't have those, but the other characters have visions about certain locations and things that we're trying to
get to.
We're trying to get to or find out more about. Or anything like that.
So it's more just a scramble for information, really. I don't think anybody has a concrete clue on exactly where they have to go or what they have to do. But that's part of the journey.
Yeah.
That is part of the journey.
Yeah, I think the thing we're doing now is just heading to the desert. It's kind of half due to not Maple, Oasis's background story, and the Oathbreaker is supposedly in the desert.
Yes.
And there may be some other things that I'm missing there. But we're trying to head to the city of Huria, which is one of the biggest cities in the desert, which is not your typical city. It's like it's a city built upon the back of a giant
Monster turtle thing.
that moves around the desert.
Yes.
So I don't know
Like a
how
turtle.
our party's going to find that city because it moves around so much. But that's the quest basically. It's not really a singular quest, but that's the main objective that the party's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Right now.
The overarching goal.
So the last session, which was session 40?
41. Wait.
Was it really 41?
What's this? It says 41.
No, that
here.
might be that might be my
Let me check.
mistake
Let me
in
check
the
the
notes.
notes.
I'm pretty sure it's 40 though. The 40th session.
Yes, that was session 40.
Yeah.
Session
that's my
40. That's 40 weeks, Kevin. That is 40 weeks. That's almost a whole year of playing D&D every week.
It might be the shortest session we've ever had though.
How
it was
long?
Probably
Yeah.
we
started like 10. I'd say 10 a.m.
Yeah.
right?
And we went to 12. So it was probably just over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Maybe just under, actually.
And how long
That's probably-
were our old sessions?
I believe one of our longest sessions, not counting the all-day sessions that we had.
Yes.
They were 5 to 6 hours long.
I don't know how we did it back then. I honestly
We
don't
started.
know
I remember we would start at 6:30. Like we would actually start at 6:30.
Yeah.
And then, as more players came in and schedule alignment, we had to push that back and keep pushing that back. And
Yeah,
now our sessions are more like in line with normal average length sessions, 3 to 4 hours.
how. That makes me sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this like some people had to leave early and stuff like that, so that's
Yeah.
why we had to end it.
I don't know.
We had to end it
Yeah.
short.
I mean, 6:30 gets pushed back to 6:45, and then to 7, and then to 7:30. What is it? Is it 8 p.m. now?
It's 8 now.
It's 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Oh, where did the time go? Anyway, hags.
So
Hags?
yeah, session 40. So our party, most of the party, basically, we go and kill the hags. Now, the hags, actually, I was thinking that it was going to be a difficult fight, but we pretty much ran them over.
To be
I gotta
fair,
say.
to be fair, I also thought it was gonna be a difficult fight until Ryan pulled out 81 damage in one turn on me.
That's
Okay,
crazy. So
okay.
how did he
you
do
know how
that?
dumb that is? Yeah, I hate that. Ooh.
Oh, how did he?
Ooh.
So he had 4 attacks.
He
No,
had
he had
5
5
attacks.
attacks.
He had 5 attacks.
Right,
5
so
crossbow attacks.
he had his base damage, and then he said he had plus 10 damage on each attack.
The
and he hit all
crossbow,
of-
I think it's called the crossbow expert feat. Allows you to add plus 10 damage to every attack, but you take 5 from the attack roll itself.
Yeah. You take a 5.
And
to
he
the
already
attack
rolls
roll.
insanely high with his bonuses. Ooh. Oh, that's some dumb
Yeah,
damage.
that
That's
was a
some dumb
record
damage.
actually. He broke a record for highest damage in a single turn.
Without a critical. There was no criticals.
But and there was no critical.
There was no
either,
criticals.
So,
There was no advantages on any of those attacks.
I mean, he got
Oh.
lucky. He got lucky.
He
Got
also added superiority dice. That's the
And he
word.
used action surge too, right?
Yes, action surge.
So that's how he had the 5 attacks. So
Oh,
That's crazy.
that's some damage. That's some damage.
that's crazy.
Ryan Reynolds can get it. He can get it.
Ryan
Yeah.
Wilson.
She was the voice. She was the voice of the hags, and she got zapped. She got obliterated. She got decimated. I didn't even get to roleplay her that much, man. I was looking forward to that.
What, she like killed 2 kids and then died.
she didn't get to do anything. She got to murder some children and then die. That was her whole impact on the party.
I disconnected for a second
Mm.
during our online session just now or just before.
Yep.
So I missed the context. So I missed the result of the 81 damage. So I thought she was still alive, and then someone said she was dead. I was like, holy crap, what, already?
So, I think Ryan, how he described it, is he shot 2 bolts. He dolphin dived. No, he did a spin to like the right, and then he shot 2 more bolts, and then he dived, and then he shot another bolt. And like the 4 bolts hit the hag's chest, and the last one went straight through her skull for a headshot, and she just kind of fell over. Oh man, oh man. You know, okay. So this, okay. You're a good guy, right? You're a good guy. I mean, Snow's
a good guy.
okay. You're a good
I'd
guy.
like to
You're a
think
good guy
so.
in real life. Okay, okay. And you're faced with this situation where this hag, this old lady, is holding a knife up to these kids' throats. Who in their right mind decides, you know what, I'm gonna try and shoot the old lady? Okay, I thought at least one of you would hesitate. None of you none of you hesitated at all.
When you think about what at least Tokul and Snow have been through, not barring like the other players, I think the other players are psychopaths.
Yeah,
but
they're crazy.
With at least the context of Snow and Tokul, who have their fair share of child deaths in the campaign. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking right. I was thinking because I also thought that someone else might have second thoughts about
nobody
with the hostages, and I was going to have Snow say that we kill them here and accept the casualties, because if we don't,
he didn't need to say it.
there's more at stake. But I didn't need to say that. I said something vaguely similar to that to Storm when I didn't say anything like that. It's basically, but when Storm captured one of the hags, the reason why I was Snow was so hell-bent on killing her is because more lives were at stake if she were to live, that last hag.
Yeah.
Which, because I was thinking back to when we had the Oni session. Searching for the Oni
session.
And think about how many kids died
stop
because of that.
Stop it. Oh,
and they were already dead when we got there to that village. But this was 4 kids compared to the Oni's like 30 something.
Okay, yeah, that guy killed a lot of children.
Yeah.
He took pleasure in it.
It's a sick motif. It's a sick as in not cool sick, as in like disgusting sick motif that our campaign has with
I don't know how we keep getting here, but we do. Okay, I don't know, grandmothers and children. I just thought, hey, that sounds like
I said it last time, right? You make the context, the players just they go with the flow.
I mean, they didn't have to get the children killed in the flow.
No. You have to think what the players would do. If they see something evil, they're gonna try and do something about it.
Hey, the players are not thinking. They don't think. They just kill. They're murdering machines. I think that's the one mistake the hags made. That the people they were going against had human consciences, because they don't. You guys don't give a fuck. You guys just.
You know what? But you know what? You kind of. I think what would have made the difference here if you had made the children less faceless.
One of them had a face.
So one of them had a face, but the other one were just children. They were just called children. They didn't have names. They didn't really talk that much. All they did was play. And it when you put it like that,
I think it separates
yeah, it's kind of like the stats and numbers when you think about stats in the news, like labeling people like, let's say something relevant, coronavirus deaths and infections, right? You look at the numbers, right? And big numbers give you a shock.
But you don't feel anything.
But you don't feel anything. When you actually put faces and names and the families that those people belong to, it changes it. It changes it. And I feel like if something like that would have occurred with those kids, definitely would have changed everything. Because the 2 kids that died in that battle were like no names. I don't believe none of the actual children.
No one mentioned their names, but they did have names.
Right. But just because the players didn't ask, I don't think that means you can't say what their names are.
Do you-
If you really want the players to sympathize with the children and things like that, I think you did a good job with the aftermath with the children burial, but setting up the children and having the players sympathize, I think there needed to be more set up there.
Do you think there's a point where the responsibility shifts away from the DM and more to the players? Or things like
I think really because the children weren't really relevant to what the players were doing at that time, I if I was a DM, I wouldn't expect the players to ask about the children because they just simply weren't relevant to what the objective was, which was Snow had a skin condition, right? That makes it sound like it's nothing, but it was a pretty bad skin condition.
It's pretty bad.
That could only be saved by a 6th level spell, and these hags were the only people around for the next, I don't know, 200 kilometers
Yeah, that would be a
to
while.
fix it, right? And that was the objective. The children were set pieces, right? They were simply set pieces.
Do you
to
think that's the
objective.
issue though, that players are looking at them as set pieces, like from the get go?
But it is a game, right? It is a game. When you
Hey,
think of it,
It's
when
more
you
than a
play
game.
video
It's
game.
more than a game. It's not a
Hey,
video game. This is more than a game.
Hang on, let me give you my reasoning, okay?
Okay,
Let me give you my
Fine,
reasoning.
go.
It's just a game, right?
Huh?
So people aren't going to. They're still in the mindset that it's a game, right? And obviously there's emotions and role playing and all that stuff. But if you don't bring out the aspect that it's more than a game, giving the children's names, giving them voices, giving them, you know, slight backstories, you know, introducing them to the players and having the players get to know them, it's hard for the players to sympathize with 4 children than it is to sympathize with Albert, Larry, Kevin, whatever, whoever. Definitely, I 100% think there would have been a reaction if we had actually gotten to know.
I agree. I definitely
those
agree.
kids.
I agree with that.
Now, you're saying that maybe the players should have asked about the children, but I disagree. I disagree that the players would have any need to do that because really we were here for a certain objective that didn't have anything to do with the kids. They were simply with the hags at the time.
I
If you had
disagree.
mentioned,
Sorry, go.
listen, you disagree, but it occurred the way that it did because we didn't get to know the kids. That's what I'm saying. So you can disagree, of course. And I think the players should be more inclined to ask about more stuff. But when we're trying to get stuff done, I think we were pretty focused this time around, which is a good and a bad thing, you know, whatever way you look at it, right? Now, yeah, we should be asking more about the world and the characters and stuff, but really, we were only there for one thing, right? And yes, the players don't really have consciences when it comes to that. And the players did make an effort to try and minimize the casualties. But I think what you're thinking of, and what I'm also... They did, right? Ryan used his distracting move to try and tell the kids to move, right? And Tokel tried to get between the kids and the hags.
That was after 2 of them.
After what?
2 of them died.
Well, they died at the very start of combat.
Because you guys shot at the hags.
So did the first kid die after Ryan shot her?
Yes.
And the second kid died because Snow shot her, right?
Yes.
But really, I would have still shot her. That's Snow.
Okay, let's go back to the game theory. Let's go back to the game theory. I think that is what's the word? The wrong mentality to approach D&D. That it's just a game. Because that just takes away so much of the strength of D&D. You really need to, I don't know, maybe actually, well, obviously a lot of the responsibility it lies on the DM himself. But you need to be able to insert yourself as a character. And looking at it as a game, it's literally it's hard. It's really hard to do that if you're just looking at things as stats or numbers or stat blocks or or faceless NPCs. And I think that's one of my issues that I do a lot, where I just kind of say that's NPC B and that's NPC A, because I think that takes away a lot of my immersion too, and I do it accidentally. So that's completely my fault. But I think the players also need to make an effort to get in there. I don't think the onus should lie on the DM 100% of the time.
I'm not saying that you should be making every effort you can to have push these kids into our faces, but I'm saying, like, you put their names out there, right? And not necessarily wait for the players to.
No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Right? You just put them forward, right? That's all I'm saying. You put them forward, and have the kids walk up to the players and talk with them and get to know them. And you put them forward like that. And then you have the players do the rest. And then whatever else happens to that kid is on the onus of the player. So
Do you think
what I'm saying is not that you take onus that for the players having a conscience. I'm saying that you have to set the table so that the players can eat from it. You
Do you
understand what I mean?
think that if you met a nameless child in real life and they were being threatened by a gun or something, you wouldn't care? Right? Isn't it the same thing?
But again, you're saying it should
You
be
don't know
more
this
than
child at all, by the way.
Yeah, right. I get your point. It's different in real life. But in D&D,
I'm saying
right,
it shouldn't be different in D&D.
I know it shouldn't be different, but frankly, that's just not the truth. It's just not the truth. Because it's, at the end of the day, it's make-believe, right? And you kind of have to put a bit more effort in order to raise the immersion, because all we're doing at the end of the day is just talking at each other and imagining stuff in our minds, okay? And our minds can't realistically imagine every single detail that is to happen in the world at one time. So we have to remind each other that, hey, there's a kid here, his name is this, or hey, your actions have consequences, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? Which is why you have problems like murder hobos and stuff, because the DMs that let that happen don't give them consequences, right? It's
Correct.
It's a role-playing game at the end of the day, and I understand it's a bit more than that. It can be a bit more than that, right? But I think so take your real life position, right? I don't have to imagine anything. If that child has been taken hostage and has a gun to his head, right? It's all
Sure.
right there in front of me, and all the stuff is happening on its own. I don't have to think of anything. All I have to think about is what I'm going to do about it, right?
Okay.
But in D&D, when you're playing from your imagination, you have to think of everything, right? And you can't. So you have to remind yourself and have other people remind you that these things are happening and potentially what you could do have severe consequences.
So if I were to describe how severe the consequences would have been, do you think that would have let people have more of a heart?
No, not necessarily. I think I'm coming back to my point with, you need to have the NPCs be a bit more something that the players can grasp and empathize with, right? Instead of just having them be there for the sake of being there.
So if I were to describe in detail how the hag took the life away from this person, you think that would have raised the tension in the atmosphere?
I honestly don't think it would have. It probably would have raised the shock factor a little bit. It may have the effects that you're talking about there, but I think it would have been worse if the players actually had some sort of relationship with these kids. That's where the tension comes from, right? You actually make a bond. And if that bond is broken, that's where you have the tension.
Okay.
In the moment of that child's death, because the players had no relation, no bond to break, there was no tension. The tension comes from the bond, which I think is what I'm trying to get at here.
Okay. Counterpoint. Why was the Oni so memorable? You guys didn't know those 30 kids at all. You guys never even met those 30 kids before they died. So why was that so memorable?
Why was that so memorable? I don't think for me it doesn't stack higher than I guess some of the other stuff that's
Yeah, I know what you're talking about there. I definitely know what you're talking about there.
But why was it memorable?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Do you think it was the consequences?
I think part of it was you were hammering down the fact that had we come earlier, there might have still been children there. And I think you kept hammering down that fact. I think that's part of it.
Okay.
The other part of it is we had a child in our party at that time who was Lucius, who we had a relationship, some of the party had a relationship, and his life was at stake. You remember the argument between Tokel and Eisen? When
to use a child as bait?
And use a child as bait?
Yeah, I remember that.
The reason that there was tension because Eisen and Lucius had this strong bond. And also, we had a bunch of kids or a bunch of people before that we were leading to one of the towns from the mountain, the human sacrifice mountain.
That's the one.
I'm glossing over so much horrific shit.
Look, these are the worst parts of the campaign. Do you agree? Do you agree with that? Like the worst, like tragic parts.
I think
I can't think of anything worse other than the beach episode.
From the end of the Oni episode to the start of from the start of the mountain where you meet the snow elves there to the end of the Oni, that was like the most tragic part of the campaign.
Yeah, what was that town called?
I think it was Brunwick or
Brunswick? No, that was the first town. Oh,
there was a second town?
Yeah. No, as in like the city with Baronessa. Oh, what's her name? I forgot her name. Baronessa something. And you guys were taking up a bunch of requests to make money for some reason.
It was the second town. I know what town you're talking about. I can't remember the name. I don't think we got a name. I can't remember.
I definitely have a name, but I just, you know what? We'll come back. We'll come back to that.
I don't even recall there being a Baronessa. Was there a Baronessa?
How dare you? She hosted a dinner party for you. You don't remember?
Can you describe it? I don't remember her.
She's like, thanks for clearing out all those bad things happening in the forest next door. Here's some nice dinner for you all. She was the nicest.
Oh, yes,
lady.
I remember.
The nicest noble you guys had met at that point.
I remember.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
We were talking about so the kids dying by the hand have any effect, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. The reason why the Oni was so memorable is because we had something to lose there. That's what I'm thinking.
So
and we had a relationship with this Lucius character, and knowing the context of the town we went into that the Oni was terrorizing, it just made the tension that much higher. I don't think the Oni would have been half as memorable if we didn't have Lucius there. And also, that was a trippy ass session as well. I believe that was the first.
That was the 12-hour. That was the 12-hour session.
Yeah. That was a trippy ass episode. It was memorable because of other stuff too. It wasn't just the
longest session,
killing kids and stuff like that. Okay. I remember the imagery and stuff, and like the mind games that the demon was playing with us. That was like, I would say that was why the Oni was more memorable to me.
Right. There was more of a threat there.
Yeah.
Okay. So having an established threat increases tension.
I think having, to put it simply, having something to lose, or having something to lose, like a character you have a relationship with, definitely increases the tension.
Okay, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, okay. And because the players didn't have the relationship with the kid there to lose, that's why the tension wasn't very high. For when that kid died, which sounds terrible, but honestly, it makes sense in the context of if you were to look at it from the player's point of view, because they're not thinking about it. They're not thinking about these kids as real people. That's what it comes. They should be, definitely, but I don't think it's fair to expect them to do that when everything's in their minds, right?
Do you think it's ever fair to expect that?
Huh?
Do you think it's ever fair to expect that? Maybe like, say, a year down the road where everybody is comfortable with role-playing or their experience, that it would be fair to expect them to have some kind of self-insert where they would be able to relate with these imaginary characters?
I really can't give you a definite answer to that, but I think definitely building up something there for the players to latch onto. Because honestly, same thing goes for an adult, right? If the hags had one of the villagers there, the adult villagers there, and just killed him, we wouldn't be having this discussion. I don't think.
Definitely not.
The fact that it was a child, right, is why we're having this discussion. But what's the difference other than age? There isn't, when you think about it.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that.
Okay. Well, if it was an adult that died, you wouldn't really be saying, "Hey, you guys should have been da 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 da. You should have been caring about this character."
No, I think I might have been. I think I would have. I think I would have said that too. Like, wow, you guys didn't really care about those three dudes who were captured. Huh? You just kind of let them die.
Yeah.
I think I would have the same reaction, just not as strong.
But I think regardless of experience, right? I definitely think there needs to be something to lose before you have the players lose.
I see. So threaten the NPCs you guys are fond of. Got it.
Yes.
Got
yes.
it.
Yes.
All right.
And I think you were on the right track with having Hesteldane threaten not the players' lives, but the people around them. But I think just because some of the players don't have a lot of backstory to them, and they don't have a lot of known NPCs,
they got nothing to lose.
They've got less to lose, and that's why it didn't really affect them that much.
Yeah, I mean,
which is a common thing that we talk
That's
about anyway. So
yeah, we're always trying to build that backstory. Okay, so those were the would you call them criticisms, or the worst parts, or the parts of the session?
I mean, I don't think... I think that was just mainly a personal complaint. Now, I don't think that the players not caring about that made it any worse, but I also think that it would have made it better if had there been some tension there.
Okay.
So I definitely think it was like, it's a multiplier, right? I think the session was good overall.
I definitely think the session was good, yeah.
There was some good roleplay moments.
Can we get to that part? Yeah, can we get to that part?
Okay,
the good parts?
Where do you want to start? What do you want to get?
What did you think was the best part of that whole session?
I think I don't want to toot my own horn, but I really enjoyed telling Storm off, like standing my ground to Storm about
that was good. That was good.
Killing the hag.
Yeah,
because it felt real to me. Because with all the context that had happened, going back to the Oni and the past, Snow's past and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was definitely like, I'm not budging on this. I'm not budging on this. Snow is not budging on this at all.
Yeah. Put your foot down. I like that. You were like, even if you flip the coin or whatever, I'm still putting this on you. Oh, that was a good line. That was a good line. That was a good ass line.
When Storm was just coin flipping whether to kill the last hag or let her free after we questioned it, I was like, oh no, I'm not allowing this. I am not allowing this.
That was good.
We did kill her in the end, so I'm happy.
Yeah, Ryan did put another crossbow bolt through her head.
That's another thing, right? She was in her child disguise, and he freaking just capped her. He just capped her in the head.
Man, I mean, she did say something to piss him off, I assume.
What did she say exactly?
She said something along the lines of, "Well, you got those other two kids killed, so one more shouldn't make a difference, right? Haha." And then he shot her.
Ooh. Oh damn.
Oh man, rest in peace, Morgan. Do you think that was your favorite part?
That, and it ties with when Maple was like spilling out his regrets about.
Yeah, I actually
burning
wanted
the
that. That was
chapel.
actually one of my favorite parts too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
so
was
it's so refreshing. So refreshing to see
but I
character to
think
character roleplay.
I think the reason why he said that was because I think I said during the recap that Maple, maybe too eager, threw a fireball at the chapel and burnt it down. I think that's why
There was a bit of a
he
regret.
said that. There was a bit of a pushback from that. So
Yeah. By the way, Maple did blow up a chapel for the hags. Context.
oh yeah, that was one of
Context.
the he freaking was like, hey. I remember last week
Aight,
he was like,
let's
I bring a fireball already? And Ryan was like, wait a
Hold
second,
on, hold on. Oh man. Okay, I think my favorite part of that session, now I'm gonna toot my own horn, was the interaction between Ryan and Jovic, the village elder.
Jovic.
I
thought that was
I
good.
really want to commend Ryan on his roleplay there. That was good roleplay. Like
That's good.
the accent is like whatever. It's a good way to separate yourself from the character. But the actions he took as Ryan was chef's kiss. You can't see me doing a chef's kiss, but I'm doing a chef's kiss. That was that was good. That was good.
It was good.
Like
whole moment
let
was
out
good.
your feelings. I'm like, I'm actually gonna let out my feelings now. Oh man. Oh, that was good. That was good.
I
really
think this
enjoyed that.
was a big departure from the Ryan we usually know.
Yes.
Who's kind of like, it's a very big departure from
the detached,
the
cool guy,
unsympathetic, cool, edgy bro, with a Russian accent.
Yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Oh man, I
hope it continues.
Like for all the bad things, all the subpar quality things that have been happening in the last sessions, I think we're on an upward trend here, in roleplay wise. Do you agree? Like everything's actually getting better, even though there's been a few.
Yeah, I think some players have been trying to invest themselves more, which I think is fantastic.
I really like that.
Still need to work on Oasis and somewhat Tokul.
Well, to be fair, Oasis wasn't here for half the session.
But I think she did a nice touch with the flower thing when they buried.
I'm really glad Eisen kind of roped her into that scenario. Okay, hold on. I want to complain about something. Oh, can I complain about something?
All right, go.
Okay. So did that interaction Eisen with Madeline, did that remind you of Sieg with
It did. So when he tried to convert Madeline to her
I was like, uh-oh.
I was like, yeah. That definitely rung a bell. Like as soon as he said convert, I'm like, hang on. Are you still playing Sieg? You still playing Sieg?
Who is this?
Oh, Sieg the fanatic cleric.
I think this one had a much better ending to it though. I really enjoyed that. I
almost thought that you were gonna shut that down because he was doing the whole like I cut myself and fill up a vial of blood, and Madeline cut herself, fill up a vial of blood, and then make a blood contract to my god. I thought you were gonna like, and then he said I used a spell slot to make it magical, and then you're like, yeah, it's not that magical. I'm like, oh, Albert, come on, you gotta give him this. Yeah. You did give it to him in the end.
I think I was just confused. Like I was like, I don't even know what's going on, because everything was off the cuff at that point. So, yeah, I really liked how that turned out, because I knew what he was going for. I just didn't know how to present the message. But when the doves came out, I was like, all right, I got it. We got it. I got it now. Oh yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think everybody did really good role play this session. Wait, hold on. Let me scroll through everyone. How do you think Tokul did? I think Tokul did good.
I think
he got his time to shine with the prayer, right?
He did all right. Oh, you mean not barring this session alone?
Just this session. Sorry.
Just this session. Yeah, I think he did all right.
Yeah, I think he did better than usual. I really like the prayer he did for those poor imaginary children.
I don't think it's as good as his impassioned speech to Angry, his god.
Do we want to go there? Should we go there?
We can go there.
I mean, that's not part of the agenda, but we can go there. Is there anything else you want to talk about from this session before we go
On
there?
the session, um, hmm.
Okay, what do you think about Passage? Because he
What do I think about it?
is this weird embodiment of an outside spectator on the party's shenanigans. He's kind of turned into that role for some reason. I don't really know how he got there, but he is now. What do you think? Do you think that's like a bad direction he's going in?
I kind of wish he was more
Involved?
involved. Yeah,
I
I
have,
think
yeah.
I wish he would had more in stake instead of him being, I drink, you pay me, I don't do anything else. I just take you to the place. That's it.
I mean,
And
he
that's
did
kind
have
of
that weird arc where he killed that guy three times.
He did right. And I like how you like left the details to be filled out, even though it was pretty clear.
Yeah,
why he
I was
killing.
worried. I was worried no one would get it, but I think everyone kind of got
It was pretty clear. It was, even though nobody particularly said that, it was pretty clear. But
Okay,
still,
we're good.
even that, like Snow doesn't like Passage.
I
And I'm
know.
pretty sure
He took your money. He took your money.
took my money, but not just that. It's not just I got over that pretty quick. Snow got over that pretty quick.
Okay.
But I he doesn't care about the party. He more cares about himself, and he made that clear. So Snow
Yes.
has no reason to give a crap about him either. That's kind of where I'm at, right?
I think
And yeah,
I think the reasoning behind that was kind of made. I think if you think about it, I think the reasoning behind that kind of the why he said that becomes kind of clear, right? Like you lose your whole family going through this thing, and you really do not want to get attached with anyone else by doing it again, because he I think his whole persona is that I don't want to feel the same thing I did last time. I think that's his whole thing, right?
I think if he wanted to go down that route, I don't think he would even want to go into the Corokin Canyon in the first place.
He does have a
Where
reason to
the-
go back though.
to kill that one person.
No, that's side quest. That's side quest.
Okay, well, we don't know that. I'm saying
I mean,
purely off what we know.
Yeah.
Purely
From
on
what you've
based
seen,
on what the
yes.
players know, he doesn't really have a reason to go back in there, other than to commit revenge, which we saw.
So do you think later on, if his motives were revealed, you would change your mind? For me?
I don't know. I don't know if I really like him as a character in the first place.
Okay, context. Passage is a tiefling guide who guided them through this dangerous valley of death. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I tried to make my characters, I don't know, at first, I think I wanted to make everybody likable, but that was just really boring to me. I really like giving people these flaws that some people will hate and then some people will enjoy. Like, I think Storm is pretty close with Passage right now. I mean, they bond over drinking and all that. I mean, and you absolutely don't like him because he's kind of the opposite of you, like, kinda.
Like, in what way?
He's very detached. He was like old you know?
Yeah.
He doesn't really care about
Old Snow.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like this reflection of your old like state.
Yeah.
And I don't think many people enjoy looking at the previous states. Just like in general. So there's that dichotomy between you two. And
That's
I
a
don't
good
know if
point.
that'll get pushed further or not. I don't know.
I didn't think about it in that way. It's good that you brought that up. That kind of just brings a whole new reason. Snow kind of didn't like them just because of his laissez-faire attitude. It's all about me, not about you. I'm just in it for the money, whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of reason. But in saying that, I think Snow definitely would see some of his old self in Passage, which kind of, again, has a more, like, repulses him more from Passage.
Yeah.
As a character.
Okay. Maybe he'll redeem himself like Snow did at some point. Or maybe he'll have a beach episode like Snow.
Speaking of NPCs, if I can make a complaint here.
All right.
I noticed that a lot of your NPCs,
They don't talk.
No, they don't talk. No. That's not my complaint.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned that you don't like making characters that people like too often, but I have a feeling that you've kind of dialed that too much, and every one of your characters are a bit.
You guys hate?
Well, for me, I think a lot of your characters are a bit. How do I say this?
One
what's the
dimensional.
word? Not one dimensional, but they seem
Assholes.
negatively
Pessimistic.
dispositions. Negatively, wait, negatively dispositions towards the party. At first, on the offset.
I think that's a consequence of the world itself. That people are just in general untrusting of strangers. And I think that's it's the exception that you find someone that is what's the word? Amenable, agreeable. I don't know. Agreeable to the party, not the rule.
That's also fine. But then, as the party interacts with them, they're also continuously trying to push the party away. I feel like a lot of your NPCs try to push the party away constantly. That's like from my viewpoint. And I feel like yes, you can have the standoffish attitude when you first meet with them, but then if we talk, they might be able to warm up a little bit. And not always tell party, no, go away.
Okay.
I hate you. Whatever. But definitely, you definitely should have
sorry.
asshole characters.
Counterpoint. Jovic.
Yep.
He loves you guys now. Or he's very thankful to you guys now.
Yeah.
He was the stock standard, I hate you. But now he's all like, oh, alright. Maybe you guys are more than like grubby, money-hungry adventurers. Because I think that untrustworthiness comes from... I don't think I've ever explicitly stated this, but there's this kind of like stigma against adventurers because they're all just kind of greedy, selfish asshats.
I think you definitely have made that clear. There's multiple characters that have referenced that fact. Particularly, I think Tanric, the shape-shifting bear gnome dude.
Yes.
A couple towns ago. He's definitely one of those types. Come to think of it, that girl, I forget her name now. The girl druid, the young druid, not druid, dryad. She wasn't necessarily standoffish, but there was definitely something off about her. That was like,
wasn't it just she was hiding that she was a dryad?
No, there was something else about it. Like not her backstory, like the way she acted, it just seemed very off-putting. And I think Oasis picked up on it as well, because I remember
she hated that girl.
She hated that girl.
She hated that girl with a passion.
Yeah.
Let me find her name. Sorry. You know what? No, I'm not gonna find it. It's wasting so much time. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that's enough reason for Oasis to literally want her to die. Do you think?
I don't know. I think Oasis as a character is kind of undeveloped. She has this kind of I hate all humanoids except I love animals. Although she hasn't really shown that animal loving aspect as yet. Or not too much.
It'll happen soon. One day. I'm waiting for it.
But I think I have this theory that it's just all a part of new player syndrome. Right? That's what I'm calling it.
Okay.
New players are the most detached from the game. Most detached.
Yeah, definitely.
So, the reason why she hates all people, because they're not real. It's just a game. She can do what she wants.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And I remember I ran like a quick 20-minute thing with my sister the other day.
Sure.
And yeah, I kept throwing her all these bones, and she just was not catching them. Like, I was like, there's this old man here. And the wolves are about to eat him. What do? She's like, I walk the other way and let the wolves eat him. I'm like,
hey, what the hell? Hey. Yeah. So, do you think after some time, she'll be more open?
Yeah, well, look, it's either she has more experience and is able to immerse herself more easily. She's more comfortable being immersed.
Yeah.
Or there has to be like a moment. We're
always talking about the moment.
that there has to be a moment where it just clicks. It all clicks, and it's like, oh, I'm all in.
Okay. Okay. Should we talk about your moment, or should we leave that for another time? Because we've been talking for about an hour and a half now.
Is that for the
Should we leave that for a different episode?
Which moment are you referring
We're
to?
talking about the beach episode, right?
The beach episode?
The beach episode? The beach arc?
The beach episode. We'll leave that for another time.
Okay, so can we talk about... Oh, what were we going to talk about? Oh, Tokul and his desperate prayers
To Engvir.
to Angvir, the god of honor.
The god of honor. So for context, Tokul essentially died like maybe 5 sessions ago.
Yes.
He got ambushed by
An old friend.
his father's old liegeman.
Yes.
He's dragonborn. And he got killed and the house burnt down. But then he got revived
From the ashes.
from this god called Engvir. And it was kind of like a whole thing to change his class as well, but we try to make it dramatic. Who is the god of honor,
Yes, the god of honor.
which encompasses redemption and all of this stuff,
Yeah.
right? And then so now Tokul was this paladin of redemption,
Yes.
forgiveness,
Yes.
Power. The strong protects the weak.
And what
the
did he
good-
do right after that?
And then the next day in game, I believe Storm and Oasis turned themselves into badgers to harass this merchant who had a Ubani merchant who had a slave. Basically, long story short, we took the slave from the party took the slave from the
Yep.
Ubani merchant, and the merchant stayed in the town for whatever reason. So Storm and Oasis are like, hey, this guy needs to be punished more. So we're going to turn into badgers and maul him. And
Yeah, that'll
Tokul was
teach him.
just there.
That'll teach him.
Tokul was just there for the ride, right? So they go up to the Ubanian merchant's in room, and basically the two badgers and Tokul go in. The two badgers maul him. They literally maul him. Tokul just stands in the doorway. The badgers leave. Tokul's still there. He goes up to the Ubani merchant and he says, "And if I see you again, I'll kill you myself."
I was so excited. I was so excited for the moment he was gonna be like, I forgive you, or whatever he was gonna do, but he God, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And I know it's bad to expect things from your players, but this was, oh man. And this was the same time he was trying to get his armor repaired, right? The armor he received from the church.
He had it in the shop at the time.
Yes.
This magical armor that he found in this derelict part of the
Rundown church, yeah.
which was devoted to Engvir or something like that. So he was
Yes.
going to have this badass armor, and he was having that repaired. And meanwhile, he goes ahead and does this completely out of nowhere.
Tokul.
But I think that was like an impulse decision, and he wasn't thinking straight. And I remember 5 minutes afterwards, he was like, "Wait, can I take that back? Can I go back and apologize?" And
I
I'm
don't
like,
think he
"No."
did that. I don't think he did that.
No, yeah, he did. He
Did
did.
he?
He did. I remember him asking, "Can I look around to see the merchant? I want to apologize. I feel bad." And you were like, "No, he's not around. He's gone."
Oh, this was like before you were gonna leave town or something?
Yeah.
Oh, so this was after his armor got shattered into pieces by his god. As punishment.
No, it was before that.
No?
It was before that.
Hmm.
I think it was the next day in game, and then Tokul was like, "I want to go back and look for him."
I don't remember that.
Or maybe it was the same night, because I remember now. Because that scene happened, and then we all convened at the inn. Snow tried to have a heart-to-heart talk
yes.
to Tokul, and then Tokul tried to go back. Or he tried to go back before then, but I can't remember.
No,
It was around-
Tokul
it
just
was
went straight back to the inn after that heart-to-heart. I recall that.
That's after he asked you. I believe it was after he asked you if he could go back to that inn or whatever.
I don't remember that, because if
I
if
do.
he did
I do
ask
remember
that,
him.
I feel
yeah.
like I would have said yes. I don't think I had any reason to say no.
No, I remember this vividly.
I don't
You shut
remember
him
this.
down so hard.
You shut him down so hard.
Maybe
You
it was
cut him
something
down.
along the lines of that, but I would have definitely just let him go back because I'm not gonna restrict a player from just going to a place.
Okay,
right?
well, if in that case, I think it might have been the next day, and then Toko tried to go back to look for him, and you said you can't.
Oh, he's gone. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Okay, so maybe we've got some
I mean, that was a while ago. That was like 2 months ago, a month ago.
So
Oh, wait, we weren't even talking about that, were we?
we
That
were.
was context.
It
That
was
context,
it was context in relation to his speech to Engvir.
And
And
now his
coming
arm is
back
broken.
to that,
Now his arm is broken.
yeah. So the next day he gets his armor back. Oh well, he goes to get his armor back from the smith, and it just shatters.
Shatters into
It's
pieces.
completely shatters. Oh man.
I think it was a set, right? It was armor, shield, and a mace, right?
I believe so.
No, it was. I
believe
think it was just an armor and shield because I think he bought. No, wait. No, I think it was a whole set. It was a whole set. It was a whole set.
He bought stuff afterwards.
Yeah, after the
He
fact.
bought stuff afterwards.
And then when you're on the road, he ignores the the crucified man.
Oh man.
Wasn't that?
And
I felt like
that's-
that was an obvious setup, and maybe I wasn't.
I think that's
Pushing that
that's a problem with the player not noticing, not picking up on the cues that you're giving them, which
Maybe on.
yeah, I think it's a common thing
Happens
that's
a lot,
happened.
yeah.
I remember we both were talking to him and saying, "Hey, let's dial it up, all right? Let's
wait,
dial it
are
up."
we just shitting on him now?
That's
No,
criticism.
okay, this is a criticism, but can we get to the part where we commend him because he did some really, really good roleplay, like really good roleplay the last 2 sessions. So let's
Okay,
go. Let's go with the begging. Let's go with the begging.
We basically the hags tell the party to, in order to heal Snow's skin condition, they have to burn down the chapel that's in the town at the base of the mountains in Sleepywood.
Yes.
And Ryan talks to Madeline, who is the woman that's tending
Yeah.
the chapel there, that what they're gonna do, right? And Ryan basically says some stuff, and he's like, "What if we can re-sanctify another building to act as the chapel symbolically?"
Yes.
So he goes to Tokul, and Tokul's like, "Okay, I'll try and do it. I'll have to beg for my god to take me back." And then he proceeds to have the most impassioned speech
It was so good. Damn, it was good.
to tell Engvir to take him back. And then you as Engvir tore him down bit by bit and kicked him out.
I mean, what did he expect? You know, what do you expect? Like, he is the god of honor, but if you're not honoring him, he's not gonna honor you. You know.
I also commend Tokul for not giving up completely after you tore him
Yeah,
to
I
shreds.
honestly thought he was gonna go down the path of no god, because paladins can have just no god at all and just have the sheer willpower, power their divineness or whatever. But he's sticking to it, and I commend that. Man, what did Angvier say? What did he say? He said something really good that cut Tokul down. Oh, I got it.
Oh, wasn't it was like, what am I the god of? And then Tokul didn't remember what he was the god of?
Oh
Was it that part?
no, it was something else. He said,
God.
and I quote, "Your words are as empty as your promises," or something. Oh, no, your words are like your promises, empty. Oh, and I saw his expression fall, and I was like, okay, I feel kind of bad saying that.
You chopped him like firewood, man.
But he's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. I really liked what he did the last 2 sessions. It was
good.
so good.
It was good.
It was really good.
It was very good.
It's really good. Things are looking up for the party, who doesn't have a name anymore. Because they went from 5 highs to something else.
It was SBG's
Super Battleground to the 5 highs.
5 hives.
Now that there's 7 people.
I don't think I ever want to name a party because we're just never gonna come up with anything good.
Hey, your Legend of the 5 Rings, that party name was sweet, okay? I don't remember what
was
it
it
was, but
called?
I remember being sweet.
That was something dumb too.
It was a pun. It was the Oh, I forgot what it was. It's something not samurai, something. Oh,
Wasn't it something super edgy like Darkness Rose or something like that?
it was double meaning. I forgot what it was though.
Double meaning. I'll have to look that up.
I looked through those notes. Anyway, should we call it here?
Yeah,
It's been a pretty long.
That's a good place to end
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I want to commend every player in the party for their really good roleplay in the last few sessions. Like all the shit we're talking, it's like it's not even close to how good they are, or how good they're getting.
There's definitely an upward trend in improvement.
And it's so good to see. I'm so happy seeing it. I'm so happy.
Well, we'll get our own show. We'll become the next Critical Role soon enough.
Huh? No, nobody said that. Nobody said that.
I said that just now.
Oh, well, you're probably wrong, but okay. Okay. All right. Let's call it here. Do we have an outro?
Right. Thanks for listening. Join us next time
on Far Kingdoms.
Far Kingdoms.
I think we were supposed to say that together, but we'll figure it out.
I almost said Forbidden Kingdoms for some reason.
It was wrong. It was wrong. Okay.
Right, join us.
And then we'll
join us next times for
Far Kingdoms episode 2, where we talk more trash about the party
and our quests and
the
complain more.
Yes.
Anyway, see you guys later.
Bye.